video on bushings versus bearings. Now, it's not like what should I get, kind of is, but it's really preference. You gotta know what you flipped, really. I'd say go both ways, depending on what sounds better to you, but I'm gonna get into this now. So this is the, I forget who makes it, but it's a Zero trainer. They run around 200 something, and this is the Ryworks MMA. Now, the Zero is on bushings, and this is on bearings. Now, I'm not going to take them apart, because it just Loctited in, but now what bushings are, right, is the blade. Typically, on a knife that isn't bearings or bushings, on bearings or bushings, we'll have just the area the pivot fits in, and you put washers over that, just slide the pivots in. Now with bushings, I don't know exactly how they do it, but I believe that they mill out or something, bigger circle, so if you were to put in the pivots without the bushings, they wouldn't fit tight. Now, the little bushing things fit into the circle, into the tang, which is on the blade, if you don't know, and the pivots fit into that. So, that is, it really helps with play. That is the play on the, if you can't see, on the Zero. This is the tap. It's a kind of annoying, but I get over it. Now, bushings are super smooth. Definitely a good step up from anything, like, well, not anything, but like a great step up from just a washer pivot system, for sure. Yeah. But a lot of newer knives, if they're not running on bearings, and they're a higher end model, so like down from squids and 51s and crap like that, you have the higher end stuff, which typically will have bearings, or, well, the newer models will typically have bearings or bushings. I know Squid doesn't do that on, at least Lucas doesn't put bearings on his trainers, most of them, I believe. I'm not too sure about that, but I wish he would. Just a traditional Squid trainer on bearings. So this here, Ryworks MMA, this is on bearings. Now, if you get to flip one or the other, you'll definitely think that the bushings are smooth, but the bearings are far more smooth, and they carry momentum better. But sometimes that can be a problem. I definitely think it can get in the way sometimes. Now this it carries a lot of momentum. And I'll show you that in a second with the swing tests. And I'll show you the difference between the bearings and the bushings, main thing with the swing test, rather than talking about it. But a lot of stuff that's like really technical is kind of hard with the bearings, because it just moves so fast. So it's definitely a better flow or speed flipper rather than a technical one. And now, that doesn't go for every single knife on bushings. I know that definitely has to do with the weight, but a lot of the bushing valleys I've flipped have been better for speed. Now, that's definitely, if you're thinking on getting one with bearings, that's something you should know. They're super fast, and somewhat uncontrollable. So now I'm going to show you a swing test. So you can definitely tell the bearings spin longer, and if you get to flip it, they are smoother. Now, this is what I was talking about. You can, with the momentum thing, is that's a regular swing test, right? But if I put it sideways, and I'll show you with the Zero first, which is on bushings, if you didn't remember. If I hold it sideways, about that slightly diagonal just kind of stops there. See that? Now, on the bearings, it keeps swinging. And this is almost completely sideways. Yeah. Now the bearings are definitely a lot more smooth. I'm just gonna put it there. I mean, it took me a long time to explain it, but just simple and easy. Sometimes bearings flip way too fast. Sometimes they're too fast to do a lot of stuff. And like I said, that's not always the bearings problem. That's sometimes the problem with the weighting of the knife, which I've definitely noticed between other things. But also another problem with bearings, and so there's really one downfall. I think the momentum thing, being too fast, is definitely a personal problem, but I think the only downfall is that bearings can be slightly more fragile than bushings. Now, bushings definitely aren't fragile at all, but just saying, bearings can be a little bit fragile depending on what they are, ceramic or steel. The ceramic bearings are just little balls of, well, they're little ceramic balls, which, aside other than steel, like, the ceramic will break easier, which is what's happened to my Tachyon 3. So, just know that. So those are really the two biggest differences between bushings and bearings. And soon I'll make a review on both of these knives. I'll do individual videos on it, but yeah. Trying to get into the flipping groove right here. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can transfer scissor real fast. Getting it with the left hand, not that good yet, but thanks for watching this awkward video.